Hello and welcome to my little cottage close to where I live in Stockholm. I was reflecting on a few different topics in my life recently, and it's been quite an interesting time. So I wanted to sit down and share a few of these reflections. The first thing is I have less travel planned this year than I have had in any year since the pandemic. And it feels really nice, which is kind of weird. I have always enjoyed the process of planning out traveling to such an extent that having no travel planned and not really feeling like planning any is kind of the opposite of how I have worked before. But I feel like I have moved on to enjoying everyday life a lot more and not really focusing on those epic experiences in life to the same extent as before. And I think, in honesty, that it's been like that for some time, but I kept doing those big trips for a long time and big experiences for a long time because it should feel in a certain way, and also because other people seem to view them in a certain way. And it is really easy to fall into doing stuff that you believe will be appreciated by other people rather than doing the things that you appreciate yourself. Especially in this day and age with social media, it feels like I and many other people easily fall into the trap of doing things for the shareability of the experience rather than the experience itself. And it's something that I have been reflecting on for a long time, and it's still something I get in and out of a lot. I see myself falling back into the pattern of going to the place to snap the epic photos that I can share. Yeah, it's interesting, but I am really happy with the rhythm of everyday life, and I want to put some focus on that for some time. The next thing I was reflecting a lot on is around socializing, and I come to realize more and more that I really enjoyed the social aspect of our office, spending the time with my employees and the other colleagues in the office, and then placing the kind of value that I started doing in that, I feel less prone to do other social things outside of work. At the same time, the last few months I had a bit less work, which is really a positive thing, because for the last 2 years I was working a ton, and then step by step during this year I have worked slightly less in a more healthy way, I would say. But then being in this mindset of constantly keeping myself busy, which I have done with work, the tendency is really to fill up the time that you have freed up from working less with something else. And I feel like the natural thing for me to fill that up with has been social activities. That could be a good thing, but the problem is a lot of social activities tend to drain me quite a lot. I'm definitely an introvert person with the ability to be social. A lot of people would say a pretty great ability to be social. I'm not sure if I completely agree with that, but definitely an introvert with extrovert capabilities. So what happened is I have felt very drained by my lifestyle in the past 2 months, which is interesting because I worked less, but I come to realize 2 things based off of this. First of all, work tends to put me into flow a lot. Socializing doesn't tend to put me into flow to the same extent, and when I'm not in a flow, my energy gets drained a lot quicker. Second thing is I have been drinking a little bit every now and then, and I haven't been drinking really in the past 3.5 years. So getting back to having like maybe 1 or 2 beers in a night was quite a big shift. And it really didn't feel good when I did it. And I'm quite surprised about it, but it does feel like when I drink now, I am actively poisoning myself. And I can feel that I am actively poisoning myself. It's quite a strange feeling, but when I consume the alcohol and then I feel it in my head, I feel it in my stomach, I feel it as less presence in the mind and less awareness, subtle awareness in the body. It really doesn't feel like it's completing anything good. So after having a few weekends where I was not having a great time, I decided it's time to go back to the non-drinking. And so far it feels really good, and let's see how it feels when keeping it up. The thing also with the energy levels and the flow part is there are some things that really tend to put me into flow. Creating videos, filming and editing videos, I would say is definitely one of those. Also photography is one of those, and reading when I get into it. So if I would take that extra time I had from not working and put it into making videos or taking pictures, I think I would have been in a very good place. But I have taken it into other activities that don't replenish energy and give me the feeling of flow that I love so much to the same extent. The next thing I was reflecting a lot on, based on the fact that I was working a bit less, is that I feel like there needs to be a certain level of challenge in life for it to be interesting. And that also connects to this feeling of flow that I was just mentioning. If there is not a level of challenge with the tasks that you're performing, I feel like you're not really gonna push yourself into the state of flow. You cannot breeze into it. I think that's the reason why, for example, when you're doing like a water sport, there is definitely a level of challenge and you very quickly move into this feeling of flow when you are surfing or windsurfing or similar. Same with skiing. There is a level of concentration, there is a level of challenge in there. If you're not fully concentrated, you will make mistakes, and that makes it really easy to move into a nice flow state. So making sure that there is a certain level of challenge is definitely something I should think about when it comes to my work life. That makes it more interesting and more fun for me to do the work I do. The last thing I reflected upon and wanted to share was I realized I love being able to make an impact onto other people's life, and more so than making an impact in my own life, because I have been running a business for a long time. It's been going quite well. I have bought this cottage, my flat in Stockholm, my flat in Gothenburg. I feel like I have really worked myself to a position where I kind of dreamt of being, and it feels really good to be here. But at the same time, I have been employing several people, and I have seen them grow both in their role at work, but also buying houses, getting children. And my third employee now just bought a house a few days ago, and I realize it feels so good to be able to be a little part of that from a financial standpoint, just providing the employment and providing the financial stability and also a general workplace stability for my employees is something I value to a huge extent. So I think that general notion of like caring more about what you can do for others on a micro and macro level versus what you can accomplish for yourself is an interesting reflection that I should keep more top of mind, because it is really the way that I feel the best when I'm able to do something for others in that way. That doesn't mean that you should only do things for others. The intent part is really important there. But in this way, it really feels like it's a win-win situation when it comes to running a business, employing people, paying in a fair way, giving work circumstances that are good. Yeah, it's really been a blessing over the last few years of running the business. Thank you for joining me in this little Talking Heads reflections video. It's the first time I film a video like this, and I thought it would be a bit nerve-wracking, but it has actually felt really good to film it. So I hope that I will have the inspiration to do more of this. Because as I said, I really get a flow of creativity and just a general feeling of flow from creating this type of content. So it's not the best when I limit the amount of time I spend doing it. Let's see, I would like to maybe even do a weekly or bi-weekly video on this channel on some of all the topics that I have lined up in the little backlog for the channel. Have a very nice day, and I will see you in a future video. Bye bye.